With the Nintendo Switch 2 just being announced recently and a Direct happening in April, I decided to come up with games for the first party franchises that I feel like are going to have games on the Switch 2 during its life cycle. So I'm going to talk about its main series, some spin-offs for some of those franchises, and possibly some remakes and remasters that may come along with it. So without further ado, enough of the intro, let's get into it. With the Mario series, there are a lot of obvious possibilities for where Mario games will go. So let's start with the 3D Marios. With Super Mario Odyssey being as successful as it was, I have a feeling there is a high chance that we will get a successor to Odyssey with an Odyssey 2, with new kingdoms and new areas and new NPCs to interact with. Like, imagine if in this sequel we see kingdoms like a Wild West kingdom, a futuristic kingdom, or maybe we can even get a Donkey Kong-like kingdom, or even Sarasa Land from Mario Land as like references, or just actual locations we can explore and get a more understanding of the Mario world. It will be a lot of fun to see, and I do look forward to it if it is an Odyssey 2. There are also other ways a new 3D Mario can go. Like, for example, instead of it being a sequel to Mario Odyssey, the next 3D Mario game is its own game with its own gimmicks, new worlds, its own characters, everything like that. Just one thing I hope is that we get more playable characters in these worlds, because although we get joined by new companions like the Lumas, Flood, Cappy, I kind of want to see these mechanics also be used with other characters as well. So adding Luigi, Peach, or instead of just them, having brand new Mario characters would be interesting as well. To maybe in some locations it's better to use one character than the other. Some characters in certain worlds can have their own boss fights for their own little story within the whole big story. Let me know what you guys personally think about the next 3D Mario game having more playable characters, or would you guys only want it to only be Mario? Sticking onto the Mario 3D topic, another idea I thought about is another level by level progression 3D game like Mario 3D World and 3D Land, but you add the Wonder mechanics from Mario Wonder. Personally, I've been calling it Super Mario 3D Wonder World, but I want to know what you guys think about this idea of like having the Wonder mechanics be used in a 3D plane. Do you think it would work? It could work, it could not work, it'd be too much? What do you guys personally think? And think of all the playable characters we can get in that as well. We can get all the characters from Wonder, but then you also add in like Rosalina and maybe even some more characters as well. Again, tell me what you think about a 3D world style 3D Mario game, but adding in the Mario Wonder mechanics. Speaking of Mario Wonder, now let's talk about the Mario 2D games. Now, when talking about 2D Marios, I have a feeling we're going to get a Wonder sequel for the Switch 2, and then that be it. I'm not too sure about if we'll get a completely brand new original 2D Mario. I just feel like we're going to get a sequel to Mario Wonder, because we got the new Super Mario series and we got a lot of those entries until they decided to stop making those and go on to Wonder. So I feel like we're going to get another Wonder sequel, and then maybe from there we will get a new series of 2D Marios. Going on to the Mario sports games now, and golf, tennis and strikers games are definitely going to come to the Switch 2. There is no need to worry about that. They sell. Nintendo are definitely going to make more. I just hope Nintendo don't make the game like halfway through, release that game, and then add more content later on and say, oh, this is some bonus content. No, it's not. You literally just decided not to finish the stuff in time, and instead of holding back on releasing the game, you released the game unfinished and add more content later on and say, oh, it's a content update. No, it's not. Also, I have a feeling that we're going to get a new kind of Mario sports title, and for some reason I'm holding out for a baseball game. Now, I don't often play the Mario sports games, but we haven't had a baseball game in years, and I don't know, maybe the Switch 2 will be when a new baseball Mario game will come out, and then instead of there just being like 3 types of Mario sports games that release on every console, there will be 4. Anyway, on to Mario Kart. Now, Mario Kart has already been revealed for the Switch 2, and there are a couple of things I have noted down that I want to talk about. First of all, 24 races. We're gonna definitely get a big roster for this, right? Because there is no way that you can have 24 races and then like the majority of the roster is already in the race. Unless they are gonna do a smaller roster, but then add more costumes and alternative skins for the characters in the game. Which is a good idea, I'll take that. If you get a smaller roster, like a roster like Mario Kart 8 with like an added like 5 or 10 characters, but a bunch of the original characters have new costumes and everything, I'll accept it. And who knows, I might even say game's peak. But then also I have a weird, strange feeling that the clone characters are gonna be returning. Metal Mario, Pink Gold Peach, Tanuki Mario, Cat Peach. All of them are gonna return, when really they should be just costumes. And from the reveal trailer as well, it looks like we're getting brand new models for these characters as well. And I was saying in my Switch 2 reaction trailer that they all kind of look like they are in their Wonder variations, styles, whatever. With the Donkey Kong, everybody saying looks like he's from the Mario movie, which I can totally see. But who knows? Maybe Mario Kart will be getting the Smash Ultimate treatment, and it'll be every racer is here. And who knows? But tell me what you guys think about this new Mario Kart game, because I have no idea where this is going to go, but I also have some idea of where this game is going to go as well. Okay, now to talk about Mario Party, because I feel like we're only going to get one Mario Party game on the Switch 2, purely because the Switch 2 is backwards compatible and we already have the 2 Super Mario Parties and Superstars. So, one of two things could happen. Either A, we get a sequel to Superstars, or B, we finally get Mario Party 11. Either one of those will happen, and then there'll be 4 Mario Parties on the system, because I don't really think we need more than 4. I don't even think we even need more than 3, but I feel like we're going to get at least one more for the Switch 2. So either I think it's going to be a Superstars or Mario Party 11. Okay, so we spent a lot of time with the Mario franchise already. Like we're nearly at to 10 minutes in this video, and there's a lot more franchises to go over today. So just going to quickly round up the Mario spin-offs. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion, new WarioWare, and a new Yoshi's Island game are guaranteed. For the Yoshi game, I kind of hope we get a new Woolly World, or just a port, because I really liked Woolly World and I kind of want to play it on the go on the Switch. I also have a feeling that we may get a new Princess Peach game as well. With how Princess Peach Showtime done, I think Nintendo might make a couple more Princess Peach games in the future, but I don't know, I'm not Nintendo. And also, we're definitely going to get some new RPGs. The Mario franchise is going through a RPG renaissance with the remake of Super Mario RPG, the Thousand Year Door remake, and the Mario and Luigi Brotherhood game. We're definitely going to get some new Mario and Luigi games and Paper Mario games. Hopefully the Paper Mario games will be like how the first one and Thousand Year Door was, so then the Paper Mario fans can stop complaining about every entry. And yeah, so that's the Mario stuff done. I did say at the beginning I was going to do remakes and remasters and talk about them, but this video is already long enough, and I think just talking about those will be longer. So if you want a part 2 talking about remakes and re-releases, hit that like button, subscribe, tell me in the comments. Anyway, to the monkey game. Now I'm going to talk about the Donkey Kong series, and I only have 2 ideas for what we can see on the Switch 2 for Donkey Kong. I'm sorry, Donkey Kong fans, I really am. But anyway, first is like my major one, which is we're going to get a 3D Donkey Kong game. Mario series got Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda got, well, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Kirby got The Forgotten Land. Pokemon got open world games. And Metroid is set to get Metroid Prime 4 for the Switch. So I think it's time Donkey Kong went on a new adventure in the 3D plane. Why hasn't Nintendo done that since Donkey Kong 64? I don't know. From what I've heard, not many people liked it. So this is why Nintendo should try again. Get the Odyssey team to work on a Donkey Kong 3D open world game. And banger. Money right there, Nintendo. Come on. Let's get a 3D Donkey Kong game for the Switch 2. And my other Donkey Kong idea is that we're going to get a new country game which is 2D. Because we haven't got a single new Donkey Kong Country game since Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. No, I am not counting the Tropical Freeze Deluxe, or whatever the fuck it's called, with the new funky mode and the HD version of Donkey Kong Country Returns, because they are just ports, and I'm on about a completely brand new Donkey Kong game. So, Nintendo, please, just give us a brand new monkey game with a brand new story. Like, even introduce the new characters, just come on. Hell, I even take like a rehash where it's just like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze with like the same 5 characters, but it's just like a new story. I don't care. Just give Donkey Kong a new game. Give it some love. Donkey Kong is one of the characters and franchises which set you on your path to success with the arcade games. Let's get a new Donkey Kong game and not just remakes and remasters of the old ones. Anyway, now let's talk about a series which I have quite a bit of knowledge on and I'm a big fan of, The Legend of Zelda. Now let's talk about one of my favourite video game franchises of all time, The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was my entry point to the Zelda franchise, and with both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom becoming very successful games, with one of them even getting a Game Award, I have a feeling that we are definitely going to get a third entry to that series of Zelda games. I just hope that they change up the map a bit to make Hyrule either bigger or just add some new things to the map to make it more distinct and unique than the last few games did. Also, some people are probably going to complain about the weapon deterioration again. I didn't care about it too much because it invokes a bit of challenge and strategy for me, but I know many others weren't so fond of it. Sticking on to 3D Zelda games, I also feel like a new 3D traditional Zelda is due. A game like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask get an actual dungeons and a much more linear story. I think people have been waiting for this for a long time. Now to talk about top-down Zeldas, as we're already talking about traditional Zelda. I have a feeling that when it comes down to top-down Zeldas, it's gonna go in two directions. Either one, they make a new Zelda game in the style of the Link's Awakening remake, although I do feel like that style will be used for remakes and side stories. Because Echoes of Wisdom is a side game spin-off, right? Or is it a main series? I'm not personally sure myself, but either way, the games are great. The Link's Awakening remake is my favourite game of all time, for a multitude of reasons, but I only feel like they're going to only use it for spin-offs and remakes. So they're going to use it again for another remake, a Link to the Past remake in that style. Please! Back on the topic of top-down Zelda, Nintendo could possibly go in the direction of how the Link Between Worlds game looks, where it was still classic Zelda, but still looked modern as well. Just imagine how the Link Between Worlds game looked, but put it on a newer, higher resolution console like the Switch 2. I'll personally be happy with either way the next top-down Zelda game goes, because I really like the top-down Zelda games. Now I want to quickly talk about the spin-off Zelda games, them being the Hyrule Warriors games. I have a feeling that we're going to get a new Hyrule Warriors game that follows Tears of the Kingdom, with Age of Calamity following Breath of the Wild, and the Three Houses Warriors game following Fire Emblem Three Houses. I have a feeling that Nintendo are gonna keep this pattern by making new Warriors games that follow their newest game. So Tears of the Kingdom will get one, or they'll hold off on a Tears of the Kingdom one, make a new open world Zelda game, and then release a new Warriors game. We're not done with Warriors games for now though, but that will be when we get to Fire Emblem and even another franchise. Let's go on to Metroid. For the next few series, they are going to be a lot quicker because either A, I couldn't think of much for said series, or B, I don't know much about the series, or C, both. Metroid is kind of both. So let's start with a 2D Metroid before I get into the main meat of Metroid which I want to talk about. So with Metroid Dread being as successful as it was, I feel like Nintendo are going to start making more 2D Metroid games, so possibly a sequel to Dread, or just a new Metroid, or a new 2D Metroid series will come out for the Switch too. And if it's anything like Dread, it should come out and do successfully well. If they just do whatever they've done with Dread, but also make it different, just don't rehash Dread. And on the 3D side of Metroid, so we already know that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out, and I did say earlier that I'm going to talk about Metroid Prime 4, and here we are. Metroid Prime 4, I think, is going to be a dual release with the Switch and the Switch 2. The game is set to come out in 2025, and so is the Switch 2, and I have a big feeling that they're going to give it the Breath of the Wild treatment and put it on 2 separate consoles. And this could do well because Metroid doesn't often sell too well, but if you release it when the new console is out, it may give people an incentive to buy the new Metroid game, and people will be like, oh, this series is great, let me go buy the new other Metroid games. I did say I wasn't going to talk about remasters and re-releases, but just one I want to mention for Metroid is that with Prime 1 already being remastered for Switch, and Prime 4 coming out, I have a feeling that 2 and 3 might get ported to the Switch too, and be like a dual, and be like how Pikmin 1 and 2 was, where they released together. But that's all I really have to say about the Metroid series. Again, I don't know too much about the Metroid series, I am sorry. But anyway, let's go on to Pokemon, and that one's going to be a really quick one as well. Heading over to Pokemon now, and I only have 2 ideas for what the Pokemon series will bring to the Switch. This is excluding a bunch of Pokemon games they'll make for phones and just port over to the Switch, which just doesn't need to be said. Pokemon Company are just going to do that because they want to make a great pound or whatever. Pokemon Gen 10 is definitely going to happen. I just hope that they actually take time and make the game properly instead of making it a buggy, shitty mess like how the last 2 games were. Although Sword and Shield wasn't too bad, I had some enjoyment of it. Scarlet and Violet was just a drag for me to play. It just wasn't good. So I just hope that they make a good Pokemon game, especially for the 10th generation as well. Also, I believe that Pokemon ZA will also be on the Switch too, whether that be, I don't know if it will be a launch title like Metroid Prime 4, but it will be a dual release with the original Switch. But what could come out of it, I honestly don't know. And that honestly, yeah, that's all I have for Pokemon, so on to Xenoblade. Now on to another franchise I don't know much about, the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise. I don't know much about Xenoblade, however my friend Mr. Zubo has, and when we were at college, he will give me a lot of details about anything Xenoblade. This information was put into my head by force, not by choice. Anyway, so with Xenoblade 2 and 3, I feel like they're going to get definitive editions, as we did get a definitive edition for Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one, and we're getting one for X. I feel like Nintendo might make a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, like have them have their own definitive editions, with all their DLCs installed, and with a much higher resolution to fit the Switch 2. Along with this, we're probably going to get a 4th Xenoverse 2. I don't think Nintendo are just going to stop at 3. Also, I thought of the idea that maybe Xenoblade could get its own Warriors-like game. We saw it with Zelda, we saw it with Fire Emblem. I think Xenoblade might have a chance. I did play the first 25 minutes of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and with the massive expansive worlds that are in Xenoblade, and all its characters, which seem memorable if you play the games, I feel like they can make a good Warriors game out of one of the entries, or make one big Warriors entry with all those 3. Hell, they might even wait until the 4th game comes out and then make a Warriors game with a 4th one as well. Speaking of Warriors games, however, let's go towards Fire Emblem. Heading on over to Fire Emblem now, and with the release of Fire Emblem Engage, I have a feeling that they might make a new Warriors game to follow Engage, like how Three Houses had its own Warriors game as well. Along with that, a brand new Fire Emblem game will definitely be announced and released for the Switch 2, and maybe a little bit of time afterwards we'll get another Fire Emblem game. I think we're probably going to get 2 like how we did on the Switch. Another thing I also think is that we may also get some re-releases or completely new remasters of Fire Emblem games. Like for example, maybe we can get some Path of Radiance and Radiance Dawn remakes, or maybe a Fire Emblem Awakening remake, as Awakening is the reason why Fire Emblem is still going on today, or at least outside of Japan, because of how well that game done. For the new Fire Emblem games as well, we'll probably get some expansion packs and DLCs for that as well. Now let's head on over to Kirby. With the success of Kirby and Forgotten Land, I feel like Nintendo are definitely going to make a brand new 3D Kirby game for the Switch 2. Along with that, a new 2D Kirby game will definitely go without saying. Heck, we might even get a new 2D Kirby game and then a deluxe version of an old 2D Kirby game like Triple Deluxe or Robobot. Although, one more thing I want to mention about the Kirby series, yes it is a small amount, I know, but I feel like we're also going to get a bunch of eShop only games for the Switch 2 for the Kirby series. We did see that a lot and loads of people seem to have fun with those, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Kirby series received another one. Unfortunately that is all that I really have for the Kirby series, as I couldn't really think of many more. So now I'm just going to go into some other series which I only thought about like 1 or 2 things for. Starting off with Splatoon. I feel like Splatoon is definitely going to get a brand new game. I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't make a new Splatoon game. What could the theme be? Well, I had a talk with one of my friends, Akio, who plays Splatoon, and he was saying that in one of the Splatfests there was a Splatfest about the future or past or something like that, and we could see a Splatoon game which takes place prior to another entry to the timeline. Along with that, we'll probably get a new story mode for the new Splatoon game. Obviously, what would be in the story? Fuck knows, I don't fucking play Splatoon. On to Pikmin now. We're definitely going to get a new Pikmin game. That just goes without saying. But an entry of a franchise which I think does need a new game on the Switch 2 is the Kid Icarus series. Kid Icarus Uprising done so well on the 3DS. Though loads of people were hoping for a remake or remaster for the Switch, but I think we've gone too long now without the remake or remaster. I think they should just make a new game entirely. And Sakurai has gone on to say before that he's not fond of remaking games, so we might just get a completely brand new Kid Icarus game. Sakurai did say that he did put in a idea for a game, and he is input for a brand new game for the Switch or something for Nintendo, and as of I think it was 2021 or 2022, he would have already started the production. So that could have been for Kid Icarus, or my final series I'm going to talk about today, the Super Smash Bros. Series. We're definitely going to get a new Smash Bros. Game, guys. I don't think they're going to make, let's do Ultimate Bucket Bed Deluxe Edition. We all thought that for the Wii U, and then we ended up getting Ultimate. So we're definitely going to get a new Smash Bros. Game, but I do want to save that discussion for another time, as I want to make my own dedicated video to a new Smash Bros. Video at some point. So look out for that when that happens. So there were my predictions for what we can see on the Switch 2 during its life cycle. Now yes, everything on this list was pretty obvious, and yes, I am still getting used to making these videos, so my points weren't kind of strong. It was just more like, I think this is going to happen because this happened before. Okay, next franchise. I am still getting used to all this kind of stuff, so I hope you guys will be patient with me. And before we go, I just want to show you a small little teaser for a series of videos just like these on a YouTube series that I plan to make a whole documentary retrospective series on, so please take a look.